Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on In Between Media. Make sure you subscribe to In Between Media. The whole channel is fire. We're doing DFS sports, fantasy sports, all kinds of sports. I mean, we got a golf show right now. You're tuning into a golf show. There's a NASCAR show, got football shows. We got all the stuff you need. Betting, DFS, 19th hole. We're doing PGA DFS. We have bid farewell, hopefully not permanently, to the WGC match play last week. It will not be on the calendar next year, but need more match play in our lives. That was exciting. It was awesome. Even though I didn't win anything, it was fun to watch. We're moving on to the last tournament before the Masters. It's kind of anticlimactic. Not a bunch of very important guys are going into the Masters by playing the Valero Texas Open at TPC San Antonio, but there are a few guys that we're going to be putting some money on because we are true degenerates. We love gambling on golf, and we're going to try our hand. So make sure you stay tuned. Here we go. Once again, thank you for joining us at the 19th hole. We are always live Tuesday nights, 8:30 Eastern time, every week of the golf season. We're going to do wraparound season next year too. I can't wait. We're going to get fired up even for the Valero Texas Open. Not too many people are paying that close of attention to this tournament because we all got ants in our pants about driving down Magnolia Lane next week. But we have to pace ourselves because obviously next week's show is going to be humongous. We're all excited to be dressed in green. We're going to be sipping all sorts of Magnolia drinks, azalea drinks like last year. But Valero Texas Open, I hate to be like that guy about this tournament because it's not really that exciting. It's a really straightforward golf course. No, it doesn't really favor any special kind of player. There's not really any big names here except for a couple guys that we've liked forever and we hope win. What do you think, Conor? How's the Valero Texas Open firing you up this week?
Yeah, not inspired. That's how I'm feeling about the Valero. But the nice thing about it, if you want any kind of storyline or you want to root for a couple of guys that maybe might get a shot at getting into the Masters, there's a few here that are kind of exciting. I mean, I'm looking forward to hopefully Rickie Fowler doing something magical and making his way back to Augusta. So there's a couple guys that I'll have an eye on this week. But yeah, for the most part, this is a crapshoot. It's not chock full of talent, I wouldn't say. So we'll get through her though. I think Bo is permanently frozen. So anyways, that I guess as Bo unfreezes himself, like he was talking about, not super inspired about this week. The match play that Bo touched on in the intro, definitely something that we want to see again next year. Match play is something that I really enjoy watching every season. I look forward to that tournament, and we had a good one in front of us this year. Seeing Scotty getting to the Final Four, seeing Rory there, Cam Young, Sam Burns, I wasn't super high on last week, but it got 3 out of 4 through, so that was good. Really looking forward to getting to Augusta. Hopefully, like both said, we'll get a big show together next week. We'll be chatting a ton about plays and bets. We've both written a few articles so far, so go back and find those on In Between. Just kind of about our early bets for the Masters. So, anyways, so Bo has all our drops. So I will I'll go ahead and do our course breakdown for the week while we wait for him to rejoin us. We're at TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course. It is a par 72. about 7,430 yards. It is Bermuda. Going to have some POA overseed, maybe a couple of different grass varieties, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty similar to what we saw last week. Long par threes are all pretty much over 200 yards. Short par fours all the way around. The par fives are pretty much gettable for everybody. There is one that's a little bit over 600 yards, plays pretty easy typically. So you really want guys that are scoring well on par threes and par fives. The par fours are going to be kind of everybody's for the taking. So as you kind of fly through the course, you're going to see a lot of greenside bunkers. You're going to see and not only that, but they're much lower elevation in comparison to the green. So a lot of kind of flop up and outs on these greenside bunkers. There are a fair amount of fairway side bunkers and waist bunkers throughout the course as well. The greens are some of the least frequently hit on the PGA Tour. So your greens and percentage rate is going to be greens hit percentage rate rather this week is going to be a fair bit lower than a lot of the other tour stops. So definitely looking for guys that have a pretty good approach game. A lot of the approach shots, like I said, because these are short par fours, are going to be coming in from about 125 to 150 yards. So guys that are good with the short irons, guys that are good with wedges, are guys that you're going to want to target here. Now, we've already kind of touched on the fact that this field is anything but inspiring. So you may have a little bit of a tough time finding who those guys are, but I would definitely weigh that in modeling. The weather can be an issue at this course. This year, at least from the weather that I looked at, shouldn't be an issue. You can see, wind gusts 30, 40 miles an hour. And we have seen that in years past where, guys are just getting absolutely destroyed by the weather. Shouldn't be the scenario this year. So I think the wind's going to top out around probably 10 miles an hour. And the only day that's got anything really problematic at all is maybe on Thursday. There's right now a 40% chance of rain. So you may be a little slower, a little wetter on Thursday, but the rest of the weekend looks pretty good. Temperature's good. Sun's out. Wind's dead. So shouldn't be any advantages to wave splits, things like that. Let's see. JJ Spawn is your defending champion, who, if you tuned in to the match play last week, JJ was on absolute fire his first 3 matches in pool play. And just couldn't do anything wrong, stick and everything. So he's a guy that defending his title this week. He's a guy that I like again this week as well. So our boy Bo, I'm almost done with the course breakdown.
With the whole show.
I was stalling for you because you have all the drops. So
I do have all the drops.
But like I said, JJ is as far as defending champions go, is somebody we're taking a look at this week. Not only for betting, but also DFS. He's got a decent number on him. And like I said, the form is definitely there. And not only recently, but all season so far, JJ's been playing well. So just to re-hit on some of the key stats that I'm looking at, driving accuracy, just accuracy in general. The approach distance I talked about 125 to 150 is really what I've got it boiled down to. Around the green and sand saves, those greenside bunkers, which Bo will probably agree with me, are pretty nasty. And then par 5 scoring and par 3 scoring. So those are really the things that I tried to utilize to get an idea of who to bet and who to play in DFS. Welcome back.
Yeah,
Bo.
what did you cover as far as the course? 7,400 yard, par 72, wide fairways, short rough. Pretty straightforward, I'm thinking. I'm basing more on recent form than anything.
Yeah, the only thing that I'll say about the fairway width, I do think that driving accuracy is important because I do think that this is, again, because of the amount of short par 4s involved here, I do think that this is trying to hit to a number off the tee. Like you want to be in the right wedge range on these par 4s. So though the fairways aren't terribly difficult to hit, the greens are pretty difficult to hit, and guys aren't going to be wanting to try to force a club in or short swing a club in. So I would definitely look at accuracy off the tee as well.
Yeah, total driving, especially. I think strokes gained off the tee, total driving, because you're going to have a little bit of length on this course because the par 5s are crazy long. The par 4s are moderately length. it's not a short course. 7,400 is above average length. The wind can be in their teeth at times, which makes it even more important to keep a low ball flight and have some distance. What do you think about having a guy that drives the ball really well, accurately, and is a streaky ball striker? That's kind of what I'm looking for, is a guy who's just striking the ball really well right now.
How do I feel about a streaky player?
A streaky ball striker, but a good, accurate driver. Like, we know they can drive the ball, but somebody who's coming into the week striping it better than they usually do.
Yeah, I'm like you touched on, recent form, I think, is probably the only thing that we have to go on with a lot of these guys. So, there's maybe 5-6 guys in this field that you could actually go back and pull historical data and actually get an idea, a trend, or build a profile about them. The majority of these guys are so hit and miss, miss more cuts than they make, rarely play 4 rounds in a weekend. So I think it's challenging. And I think, to Bo's point, like, at least in this week, I dropped my model, shortened it up to 24 rounds, which is about as short as I ever do, all the way around. So just really trying to get a vibe off who's trending right. So I like that. But I really, really think it's wedge guys this week. And if you look at some of the data, the short iron specialists are the guys that tend to do pretty well here, wind or no wind. There isn't going to be much wind, at least not as the weather says right now. So, some of the advantages that a guy like Rickie Fowler would have with like that low sweeping hook off the tee, though that shot's still going to work just fine here. I don't know that those low ball flight guys have any more of an advantage this week. Now, if the weather kicks up, like I said, the wind could be crazy here. And if that happens, then, it probably wouldn't hurt to have a lineup or two favoring like good wind players, low ball flight guys, just in case the winds change.
Yeah, I'm checking it out right now because I want to see what the wind looks like. I'm picking up 14, 13, 11, and 10. So for Thursday and Friday are looking at sustained winds, at least a club in effect. And then over the weekend, it looks a little bit calmer. That's as of right now. I just Googled it, San Antonio weather. If the winds are above 15 miles an hour and gusts to 20, then you're looking at a completely different golf course where the winning score is going to be worse than 15 under par instead of better than 15 under par. It's a pretty big swing on this course because it does have defense in the form of distance. And like you said, those greenside bunkers get a lot more in play when the wind's blowing, because guys have to hit longer approach shots, or they're taking different angles into greens that they're not accustomed to. And I just don't know if this course has a whole lot to really dive into too deep. Like, I'm not overly weighting any like really specific stats. I'm going on strokes gained off the tee, around the green, strokes gained putting on Bermuda. But it's in a par 5 scoring, of course. Birdie or better percentage in general. I'm looking at that this week. I'm just not getting too specific. I'm not getting very aggressive with my bets this week. This is one of those crapshoot tournaments that, similar to a tournament earlier in the season we talked about as a putting contest. This might turn into one of those if the wind stays down. What do you think? Wait, did we spin it back, or did we get to a point where we were supposed to spin it back? Are we drinking anything tonight?
I was reading. So our
we
boy
might
Royal,
need to be drinking at this point.
Jesus, our boy Royal asked a question over there about Rickie, so I was trying to pull it up, and make sure that I wasn't going to say anything that wasn't true. And
he does need to win. He does need to win.
He absolutely has to win.
Anything besides a win would not put him in the top 50 in the world. He's trending in the right direction. He just doesn't have enough time in upcoming events to get that invitation. This is the last week to get an invitation to Augusta. So anybody who cracks the top 50 or wins is going to be invited. Rickie needs to win. So
I think everybody that's on the cusp that's actually playing in this tournament has to win.
Yes,
I don't think
I believe
anybody
so,
can
too.
move. I don't think anybody can move up by place.
I think you're right. There are a couple people that can win. There are a couple of guys that have no chance to make it unless they win. And then there's it's just that last gasp, like last chance to get your automatic invite. And that's why a lot of the big guys aren't here, because they're already at Augusta practicing.
Yep. No, I think yeah, we can definitely spin it back though. I touched on some of the match play stuff briefly as I was waiting for you to get back. So we can get into it and talk about how I whooped your ass again for like what, the 7th week in a row, 6th week in a row. I don't even know.
6 weeks in a row, and it's embarrassing. Rest in peace to the WGC match play. Pour one out for our homies in Austin. They had a good thing going, and for some reason, the PGA Tour just can't get out of their own way, eliminating the only tournaments we actually care about, elevating events that don't need to be elevated anymore. They're already elevated. It's just a mess, and I'm really upset that there's not going to be any match play events next year. Are you with me there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is the match play is one of those things, like, not only from like a betting standpoint, but just I think it's just one of the most entertaining tournaments to watch every year. Like,
some of the best tournament golf on TV that I've seen for a long time.
And it was so back and forth on a lot of the like big matchups. Like, I mean, it was everything that you could really ask for. I gotta say, I'm
mad that Kitayama was one hole away from cashing that ticket.
The shitty thing for Kitayama was, and I said this in our show last week, is that it wasn't that I didn't like him. It was that I didn't want to bet him and I didn't want to play him in DFS because I liked Cam Young so much more. And I knew that he was going to hit Cam Young right away if he got out of his pool. So in transparency, as much as I like Kurt and as much as we play Kurt, I had about less than 5% shares of Kurt in almost anything, just because I was so heavy on Cam Young.
And I was hoping that Cam Young's putting would get in the way, because in match play, clutch putting is everything. And unfortunately for me, Cam Young was striking the ball so beautifully that he didn't need to make very many putts, because he was right there close to the pin so many times. Yeah, and Kitayama was on fire too. I was so happy when he smashed Putnam. Like, he smashed Putnam in that first knockout round.
Yeah, Kitayama looked good. And honestly, like, a couple things on Cam Young, like, not going to take anything away from him, but I mean, there were a lot of lucky shots, lucky lies, like, and then his luck kind of ran out against Burns. And then we see what Cam Young is literally. I mean, he's like Rory 2.0. He's getting to the big dance every time and runner up.
It through.
Like that, I think that's the sixth runner up.
Six. He had 5 last year. Yeah.
And Sam Burns has stuck it to him once already, and
Sam Burns has 5 wins now,
which is wild. I mean, Cam Young looked like he forgot how to play golf. I mean, it was just like, I don't know if he saw that he had a $2 million paycheck coming in, and he was like, well, whatever, I'll just bat it around for an hour or two and then we'll get out of here. But
yeah, he's not hurting for sure, but it was disappointing because we both had some Cam Young. You probably had a ton of Cam Young. I didn't really like Sam Burns coming in, but he put the pedal to the metal and hit some great golf shots all week. 7-0 in a tournament like that in match play is really impressive. That's a tough tournament to win. Kudos to Sam Burns, but Cam Young winning would have been so nice for the show. If you had a top 2 or top 4 bet on Cam Young, congratulations.
I will say this. I will toot my own horn. Outside of Sam Burns, I nailed the top 4. I said somebody would come out of it, would either be Scotty or Tom Kim out of the top. I said it'd be Rory and Cam Young. I thought Cam Young was going to win it, but I was all the while saying Rory would be 3rd place. So we we did a pretty damn good job of navigating that bracket last week, and a lot of the guys we picked,
we had it surrounded,
and a lot of the dudes that we picked to come out of the pools were spot on. Like we did a really,
we had Putnam, we had Poston, we had Kitayama, we had Cam Young and Scotty and Cantlay. I couldn't believe Cantlay lost to Burns. That was where Burns should have lost.
See, and that was another one though, dude. Like you and I went, I mean, I don't know how many, 3-4 or so times on the show last week. I said I'm just not that into Cantlay, and
he was playing like so well though.
Cantlay played really well. Like it could have very easily gone in favor of Cantlay, but there was just something about his recent form to me that is, he just doesn't have that killer instinct right now that to get him over the top. And I think, like we kind of touched on with him, he plays just well enough. I mean, he's very good, and he's getting by on being very good, but he needs to figure out a way to be great, especially going into Augusta. So
I think our best calls from last week were our fades of Zalatoris, especially, who didn't stand a chance in group play, got absolutely blown away. So did Fitz. Those were the two guys we were like, absolutely not. Do not touch these top seeds in these two groups. They're going nowhere in match play. And guess what they did, Connor? They went nowhere. They went 0 for 3. Both of them went 0 for 3 and went bye-bye.
See you later.
So long.
Well, yeah, and touching on Zalatoris and Hideki both injured again. So that's neat, which, you know, we'll talk about Hideki maybe a little bit in the betting and DFS, but I wouldn't touch Hideki this week. I'd be absolutely shocked if he bothers to tee it up here.
I saw him getting a massage on his neck on Wednesday last week at the match play, and he toughed it out, and then he pulled out at the end. Like he played 2 rounds getting a neck massage before his round, and then it was too much for him. So those neck injuries do not go away.
I'm not one of those that usually argues for the injury report in PGA, but last week, I mean, there were guys. I was not high on Hatton, and I was pretty adamant I wasn't high on Hatton. But I think that the 28% of the world that thought Hatton was just going to steamroll his way to the semis probably would not have played him had
I saw him come up with his saw him doing this in warmups. Luckily, I woke up early enough on the West Coast to see him doing this after every shot on the range, and I said, nope. I pulled all that out, and I ended up going away from him and more towards Rory in that quadrant because I saw that as at full strength. Hatton was still holding his own in match play against these world-class players with a bum hand. And I was like, oh, full health. Yeah, for sure. But a fresh hand injury. He didn't have it before. He somehow suffered it in warmups on Wednesday before his first match. And that was just ultimately, unless you got up early enough, you were going to be stuck with Tyrrell Hatton last week with a bum hand, and still somehow almost got out of his group. And I don't know. That dude's a gamer. He's everything you want in a match play tournament. So I did disagree with you wholeheartedly there until I saw he was injured. But yeah, injury reports in golf don't usually matter. But when it happens right before it starts and locks and you're stuck otherwise, you want to know.
Yeah, especially in match play, because I mean, there's people that between Zalatoris and Hideki, I mean, their weekend was over before it started, which, you know, from an entertainment perspective takes away for some people too. So I definitely think there needs to be some transparency as to like some health and condition of these guys, but we digress.
All right. Are you ready to, what are you drinking, by the way? I saw you sipping on something really delicious looking.
I'm drinking, actually, I've had this bottle forever, and it's actually not horrible, but this Busker Irish whiskey, single grain.
Hey, look at Irish.
Yeah, I've been on a little bit of an Irish kick. Now, I would definitely say that this guy probably resides at knee height or lower at your local supermarket, but it's not bad for a single grain for $25. It's just lying around. I was like, yeah, try this. I haven't tried this before. Not? So,
I mean, a guy named Coughlin's gonna have some Irish whiskey, you know.
That's funny. I've got more shitty Irish whiskey than I have anything else, probably. But
That's the most Irish thing you've ever done. Just have shitty whiskey everywhere. I am, of course, going back to my favorite bourbon. This is the Granny batch from 2020 of Booker's, and we're talking all-time great bourbon. I have two other Bookers that I'll crack open this season at some point, but this is the oldest one I have in my rotation. And so I'm very slowly sipping on it. I don't want this thing to go away. I don't want to run out of this one. So I'm not pouring heavy. I'm pouring light. It's 126 proof anyway. So I'm not going to go heavy on this stuff because it is electric.
I'm trying to think the last one I had. I think it was Backyard Barbecue was the last Booker's that I had. And that was fantastic.
They're all so good.
Oh.
They just it's so perfect. Every generation that they come out with is just amazing in its own way. Let's head to the Valero Texas Open, a little bit more detailed on the betting side. I do have some bets behind me that we'll go over. Conor's got his own. Let's twirl some clubs. All right, TPC San Antonio. I'm playing some hot players. I'm putting money on some hot players. There's some really good lines here, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. But there are some really soft ones that I've been digging at. You can see one of them right above my head right now. That's the softest line I can imagine for a guy of his caliber with his recent form. But let's start at the top. I love Rickie Fowler this week. He needs the win to get into the Masters next week. I want to see Rickie Fowler at Augusta next week. I will be rooting for Rickie Fowler this week. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I don't love the plus 1,800. If you can find a little bit longer than 18 on Rickie Fowler, go ahead and do it. I'm doing the homer bet of 1 unit on Rickie Fowler at plus 1,800 because I want to see it.
Yeah, can't fight you, man. Rickie Fowler is probably the only reason I'm even going to bother watching most of this golf tournament. Like,
thank you. They needed him to show up this week as much as he needed to show up and win.
and damn it, like I really, really, really want to see a Rickie resurgence. Like I love Rickie. I always have. It's heartbreaking watching him like kind of fade, and it's been awesome seeing him kind of come back and get his swing together. And yeah,
he had a baby. Didn't Allison have a baby recently, or they got married? Something happened where he changed his swing and he was reborn like a phoenix. That's what we're seeing lately.
100%. And like when you look at how he played at the match play, like I mean, he was there to play. And
he was throwing darts is what he was doing.
And I'm excited. I'm really genuinely excited to watch him play this week. And I'm with Bo. Like I don't know if it's kind of willing it into existence or what, but
damn right.
Be very, very heavy on Rickie this week.
Yeah, we might be singing a different tune with ownership in our next segment, but Rickie Fowler is a fan favorite. Plus 1,800, it's an okay line. My next guy
you're going to get to, though. I mean, I've got 6. Yeah, I've got a database of 6.
He's getting a lot of play this week for obvious reasons. We're not the only ones that are fanboying over hoping Rickie wins this week. So the line isn't really getting cheaper right now. It's not going to either, most likely. But I like Davis Riley. You're a Davis Riley advocate most weeks. 25 is also another kind of iffy line where you could hope to find some better, longer odds on Davis Riley. But I just love the guy's game.
I do, and I'll be honest. I don't think he sets up that great here, but I think he's so much better than most of this field that it may not matter.
The thing is his best is so much better than everybody else here.
Yeah, I mean Davis Riley is somebody that I've been just fan of since beginning of last season, even. And so he's another guy I want to see do well. And so I'm with Bo. I definitely would bet this, but not necessarily because I think this is the best fit for him. I just think he's
right.
Significantly better than these other guys.
Yeah, his A game is well above anybody else in this field. Unfortunately, it hasn't been there very often this season. It has started to come back lately. The last 2 or 3 events, he's shown up pretty well. So recent form is there for Davis Riley. The thing with Davis Riley is he's the guy. This is how I played it out in my head. If the wind picks up, it's going to favor Rickie. If the wind stays down, birdie machines like Davis Riley are going to be very favorable. So I think that if you really like Rickie and you want him to win, you hope the wind picks up in San Antonio over the weekend. And if you just want it to be calm birdie fest where everybody's just shooting low scores, Davis Riley's going to be really up there because he can make a ton of birdies.
Yeah, and there are parts of his game that I really do like that do set up well for here. And so, I mean, I don't feel like this is a bad bet by any means. And I hope nobody's taking.
You can say it, Connor. If you don't want to play Davis Riley this week, just say it.
No, I want to, and I will.
I'm gonna watch me.
But there is a guy right there that I objectively like a little bit better, and that's Siwoo Kim. And
ooh, Siwoo.
And just because I think in this field, with as good as Siwoo has been playing at 2,200, I mean that's a really good number for Siwoo, given the form, given the skill set. So I'll probably, I mean, I'll definitely be using both and betting both, but I definitely wanted to mention Siwoo before we drop down to the guy who's probably my honestly my favorite bet in this field, and that's JJ Spaun at plus 3,000,
defending champ.
And you've been doing this with me a long time now, and you probably have never ever seen me bet or play the defending champ of a tournament. But JJ Spaun was and has been out of his mind on approach. I mean, watching him play that match play, I was like, holy shit. Like,
he was hunting.
I mean, the dude just was, I mean, every swing was rhythmic. He was in perfect balance. The ball striking is just out of this world right now. And in a field like this, like JJ Spaun is another guy that you put right at the top and go, there's just not this caliber in this field with this recent form behind him. So JJ,
it's weird that he's down so low. Because we've seen guys like Zach Johnson and Charlie Hoffman come to this tournament and get top 5s every year. It seems like it's a weird, like multiple champions are just these weird, like one-off guys that, I mean, Zach Johnson obviously won a major, so we can't discredit what he did, but really Zach Johnson's not an elite tier player at any point in his career, but he owned this tournament back a decade ago, like owned it. Won it 3 times. And then you have guys that can come in like JJ Spaun, where as long as they're rolling pretty okay, this course is just going to fit their eye. They're not going to have much elite competition in their way. I'm with you. A 30-1 on a defending champion seems like a pretty disrespectful line. That's soft as I'll get up.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. Like it seems like he should be more up there in that like Siwoo range.
Exactly. I mean, Hideki's getting more respect and he's got no neck.
Literally or figuratively.
Hideki does well on this course, but he didn't just win it last year and didn't play well last week because he withdrew. And you have JJ Spaun getting no respect at 30-1 as the defending champion. It's so backwards. Yeah, let's move on because I'm just mad now because JJ Spaun needs more respect.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is one of those circumstances where I'm going to eat my words next week. I don't see a way that JJ Spaun isn't competing in the top 5 all weekend. It just doesn't. It would be very surprising to me.
I like this next range of players. You can go with a really nice, consistent, steady Eddie at 40-1 with either the Todd Father or Ben Griffin. Or you can get a little spicy with last week's winner at Punta Cana. That's Matt Wallace. Thomas Dietrich, the German's been playing well. And Rising Star Alert, one of the Hogard twins is going to be a PGA champion soon. And it might as well be Nikolai Hogard at 50-1. That's a sparkly number there. Which one of these guys do you like the most?
Brendan Todd is probably the one I like the most.
Todd Father.
He rates out super well for me. I think he fits here pretty well. He's been consistent. And I think, you can get him as deep as plus 4,800. So I think that's a pretty reasonable, a pretty reasonable value for Brendan Todd. To your point, I like Hogard. I actually probably like just above. Well, just above him with Nick Taylor. It completely fizzled, completely screwed up a bunch of my DraftKings last week. But he's been competing.
You know why, Connor? He's not very good.
He's been competing in fields that are significantly better than this, though, and so
Is he though?
Yeah, I mean, he really has been. I mean, he's got some top 5, top 10 value. Now in this field, for that number to be worth it, we need him to win outright. I wouldn't bet the mortgage on it, but
no.
But that's a pretty decent.
I don't like his face. I don't like the guy. I don't like his face. I don't want to bet Nick Taylor, especially when the Aussie Cam Davis is right there at the same price. Like, I'd rather take Hogard and Cam Davis over Nick Taylor at that same price.
See, I've been hearing people on the Cam Davis train, and I'm just not there. Like, Cam Davis, he's a wily guy, man.
He looked really good at the Players.
And he'll do that every once in a while.
He was sick for 2 months. Before he was sick for those 2 months, again, top 20s every week.
Was he fucking sick at all of last season?
He was sick for 2 months.
No,
2 months of the season. February, half of February, and the rest of this month, he's been out of commission, playing through it, but like really serious medical condition from what I've heard. And so he was just gutting it through, missing cuts, and he said he finally felt better before the Players, and sure enough, shows up with the top 10 against an elite field. This guy's got that same Davis Riley upside, in my opinion.
No, I don't agree with you on the upside of Davis Riley, but I will say, yes, I heard the same thing about Cam Davis. Joking aside, pretty serious medical issues most of this season. I will say that my point, though exaggerated and over the top, the point I was trying to make about Cam Davis is when he's on, he probably would win this going away. But you also have the flip side of Cam Davis, where he sprays literally every single shot and can't seem to find the hole on, will take double and triple bogeys on holes. So Cam Davis, I'll play him here and there, but I don't think that a course that demands precision accuracy on your approach, that just doesn't scream Cam Davis to me.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Is there anybody between 50 and 75-1 that you're interested in?
Are you playing this week? You got to be in that range.
Pretty damn close. I think looking at the bets behind me that I have in my article, I don't have anybody in this range.
I've
seen some Aaron Rye love. Aaron Rye.
I don't hate Aaron Rye. I'm probably going to be more DFS.
He's accurate.
Like I said, I'll have him in some DFS. Aaron Rye, I don't see him winning. Like it's
not, no.
And for a T5, T10,
he's the British Joel Damon.
Yeah, that's actually that's pretty reasonable. At the top of the range, you just rattled off though, Eric Cole at 80-1. I definitely would take some shots at that. Eric Cole continues to pop up. That's
a really soft line for him.
I kind of thought so.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then what was the other one that was right in there that I had written down? Ben Martin at 90 to 1 in some spots, as low as 66 most places, but as high as 90.
I ain't touching him at 66.
No, but if you can get him at the 80, 90 number that's floating around a lot of places, I think Ben Martin,
he's at 90 on DraftKings right now.
Yeah, and he's 80 over at FanDuel. I think it's FanDuel. I got to scroll up to the top of my column.
Charlie Hoffman at 110. This dude has been top 5 here 4 times, including a win. That's weird ownership for for a guy of Hoffman's caliber in the lower quadrant of PGA Tour lore. Charlie Hoffman having a weird success rate at TPC San Antonio. Are you touching him at 110?
I will not be. And normally you don't have to go very far to talk me into Charlie Hoffman. That's
why I was asking, because you're the only guy here among the two of us that likes Charlie Hoffman. So I had to know whether or not he was the go this week at his one good tournament of the year, besides the Waste Management.
I'll say this. If I were you directly, I would put some money on Hoffman, because this will be just like what happened with Webb Simpson. On him. The minute I jumped off, T3.
Dead. Yeah. As soon as he was dead, he killed you.
No, but I will, in seriousness, the reason I probably wouldn't spend on Hoffman is because I like Bramlett better, and he's the same number.
Bramlett, Mr. Can't Find a Fairway.
Yeah,
Mr. Long Drive guy that you just talked about. The fairways do narrow at the 300-yard mark, which forces some different approach shots. Bramlett's not the dial it back guy that I picture winning this tournament.
No, he's the opposite, but there are some narratives that say that a bomber could excel here.
There isn't much rough.
And the thing about Bramlett that I like is, of this range, from the 80 to about 120 to 1, Bramlett's somebody that we've been playing relatively consistently all season, and he has some decent form and has like, well. I mean, he's shown some moments of brilliance. So again, at 110 to 1, I mean, these are not
you don't have to be talked into it too far to make a solid play. I'm still completely going to play Akshay Bhatia every week if he's in a field of this caliber. I'm not going to play him in the elevated events yet, because he's not there yet. But an event like this, the insane amount of talent that this young guy has in every facet of the game of golf, I am going to bet him until he wins, and then I'm going to continue to bet him, because it's coming. And this is the kind of guy that can play in any conditions at any course, and he can win because the dude just scores everywhere he goes. And I think that once he pulls together a form that's consistent enough for him to be a PGA Tour star, it's going to happen. But Akshay is at 100 to 1. That's a shot. I'll take a shot. I'm going to take a quarter unit shot at Akshay every week, and this is why.
Yeah, and he was a late addition, right, to this tournament.
Yes, he just got his PGA Tour status 3 weeks ago, so he wasn't going to be in that field until he got his card.
And I was just going to make a comment that he's not going to probably show up in most models. If you're building a model,
he doesn't have enough stats. His stats aren't qualifying.
No, it's not a stat thing, actually. It's just that he wasn't technically, according to the PGA, he wasn't part of this tournament, so he's not going to show up in the databases. I was trying to look for some of the stats just to back up the point. So
I have them.
Well, if you have them, please divulge. But no, I'm with you. Good. I think he is good, and especially in a less talented field, I think he feels more comfortable. And every time he's teed it up, Korn Ferry or otherwise other lesser talented fields, he's been right there. So I'm with you, Bo, and he's somebody that we've both been on for a few weeks now. So not jumping off now.
Can I throw out a guy that nobody likes, especially not us two, that's in that same range? He's the Wish.com version of Corey Connors, Mr. Luke List. He's an awesome ball striker, but cannot putt. Like it's worse than Zalatoris out there for him. One of the worst putters on tour the last 3 years. Luke List still got the firepower though. Like every once in a while, he'll catch some putts that actually fall in the hole, and this dude can score with anybody with his ball striking. But yeah, if you're not into decent putting, Luke List is off my board, but he is mentionable because of the firepower.
Yeah, and the thing I'd add, Luke List is definitely on my board, and for two main statistical reasons. He hits the ball. He has a great approach game, and he hits the ball very close to the hole. So Luke List, yeah, I'm with you.
His knees are buckling just mentioning that.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. Luke List is one of those dudes that stands over a 3-foot putt, and you could flip a coin on whether it's going to go in. I mean,
we don't know.
It's wild. But yeah, no, in terms of this field in particular too, he's one of the best approach players that you're going to have in here. And the fact that these greens are small, hard to hit, the fact that he's getting very close and giving himself good looks at birdie consistently. I think Luke List is a very viable option for betting,
especially in that range.
Yep, absolutely.
Take shots on guys who can actually win, who have the firepower to win. Another guy in that range for me is Hayden Buckley at 130 to 1. Hayden Buckley is one of the best drivers of the golf ball on tour. He hammers the ball. He's very accurate off the tee. The rest of his game, however, not great for Hayden Buckley, but he's hot. He's hot, and he can drive the ball in the fairway. What say you, Conor, on my guy, Hayden Buckley, who's also your guy on occasion?
Hayden Buckley. Yeah.
Tell me about Hayden Buckley, Conor.
Hayden Buckley does something to me week on week that sounds strikingly similar to his last name. But I'm gonna keep playing him.
Boom! Basically, you're right, because every time we play him, what happens? We get buckleyed.
Yeah, we get straight buckleyed week on week. But to your point, Bo, excellent driver of the golf ball, very accurate off the tee. He rates out well on the par 3 distances that I rattled off earlier before you jumped on. He's very good from that 200 to 225 range, which is all the par 3s. And then he's another guy, much like Luke List, that on his approach shots is knocking himself within 10, 15 feet more often than 3/4 of this field, which in my mind says he's getting a good look at birdie at least every couple of holes. So definitely.
And he's a better putter by a mile than Luke List.
Yeah, he's significant.
He's not great. Yeah, he's not great, but he's not bad.
I mean, quite honestly, a golfer with a seeing eye dog might have a better shot of holing out from 3 feet than Luke List.
Ouch. Well, we're setting ourselves up at 130 to 1 to get buckleyed again. However, I have a feeling that, I mean, everything I looked at this week pulled him up at the very top. So I'm going to respect my numbers because they have paid off this year. We're still well in the black for the season, even though the last two haven't gone so well. We were pretty conservative on the last two. We're going to be even more conservative this week because you can see by the guys we're favoring, it's a crapshoot and a half.
Yeah, I my very, very farthest down dart, and then we can get into DFS.
Is it Tano Goya?
It's
at
not
350 to 1 here.
It's
Tano Goya.
I do like that, but I knew you'd have that one. And it's not Echeverria. Echeverria can be had for 300 to 1, which I don't hate.
350 now. He moved up.
But no, it's Justin Lauer actually.
Yeah, you beating the drum. Eventually, Lauer's going to show up and do something.
200 to 1 though, and he's somebody who a consistent performer on Corn Ferry Tour, consistent performer on the PGA, makes cuts, can put himself in the realm of competing, and is great at the par 3s and par 5 ranges that I outlined, and he's very good out of the sand and around the green scrambling. So I like a guy that if he does miss the green, he can get himself up and down too, because
he's your Akshay. You're going to keep playing him until he pops, right? I'm not going to miss when Akshay wins, and you're not going to miss when Justin Lauer wins, right?
That's right.
I'm going to mention Tano Goya. Just amazing off the tee. The rest of his game is, but he makes a lot of birdies, and conversely, on tough courses, we've seen he makes a lot of bogeys too. But this is the weirdest stat I could find: is Tano Goya, if you take away his Friday scoring average, so round 2 scoring average is 71.8, one of the worst on tour. If you just take his Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday scoring average, it's 68.4, which is a half a stroke better than number one guy right now, Jon Rahm. That is the weirdest stat I've found ever for golf. And Tano Goya, it just seems like he shits the bed every single Friday and somehow misses the cut after shooting 67 on Thursday. And if he makes the cut, this dude's in contention because he gets to shoot another 68.5 on the weekend. What is going on with Tano Goya where he just cannot play golf on Fridays?
I think I don't have numbers in front of me. I did not know you were going to pull out that mythical.
It's weird, right? I'm just saying because it's
strange.
Weird.
But I was going to say, just going off of memory, there's two golfers that are similar to that in Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth that typically have one blow-up round either Thursday or Friday almost every week and then make this miraculous comeback.
Moving day warriors.
Yeah. So no, I like Goya.
He is 4 strokes worse on Friday than the rest of his rounds.
Maybe
what is going on?
Maybe he's out partying Thursday night. He's tin cup styling it on Friday. I don't know.
Seems weird, but if he somehow shoots par on Friday, we're in business.
Dude, if he shoots par on Friday, he'll score low enough to qualify to win the next 2 tournaments. Just give him the Masters green jacket.
351. You heard it here. Tano Goya from the top tippity top rope. That would be our even bigger hit this year than Kirkadiyama. Anybody else?
Even your dog likes that one. Let's end on that one.
Okay. Thanks, Rosie. Yeah, I agree. Let's go with some DFS.
Do it.
The club is well. This would be a wrestling plan.
So DFS wise, holy hell, I'm going to have to defer to Conor this week because he has the most reliable ownership data in front of him. That's all that matters this week, guys. DFS at the Valero Texas Open. You heard it here. Nothing matters except for ownership percentage. You just don't want to have the different hard golfer to predict than everybody else.
God, you almost don't want me to tell you.
All the best ones are chalky, right?
It's like all the guys that you want to play
are chalk as hell because everybody's on the obvious guys.
Yeah. So
thanks, Conor. It's gonna suck, is what you're telling me.
So before we say who we want to play, I can lead into each pricing tier with who the leverage play would be. And then we can talk about
there. Let's go there.
So in your 10K and above, your overwhelming leverage, which will come as no surprise, is Hideki, because I would say 90% he's going to withdraw.
Yeah.
So your next, I would assume that once Hideki withdraws, the little bit of ownership that's on him will split evenly to Corey Connors and Terrell Hatton, who are both at about 19% right now.
Okay.
But apparently us and the rest of the world really want Rickie Fowler to win this week because he is tipping the scales at 28% owned.
Yikes.
And that's not including general public that'll be playing a little bit this week. I mean, Rickie,
that's going to go north. That's going to go north.
You could see a 35% owned Rickie Fowler, which is just wild to me.
And it really sucks because I want to play him in I'm going to have to skip playing him on DFS for that reason.
And I can make an argument within DFS, just point value to dollar with him. Again, love him as a bet, would bet him all day. But as far as DFS, at $10,200, Rickie Fowler for me rates out 18 overall. And, you know, your rule of three would dictate that, I mean, he's just not going to return value nine out of 10 times. It's just not. So it's a tough fade in DFS because I love the story and I want to see him win, and I'm still going to root for him and I'm still going to pull for him to win. Yeah. But for ownership and price, I'm going to have to be off of Rickie in DFS. Like that's just
so
too crazy.
As his ownership climbs, as we get closer to lock, Tyrrell Hatton's is going to fall because he's the most expensive guy here at 10.9. So I'm interested in Tyrrell Hatton as Rickie Fowler gets more chalk. Hatton's going to lose some of that chalk that's on him at the very top. He's got the game to win here. Obviously, his A game is better than most here. And his hand, I don't think was a serious thing, but it was definitely bothering him on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm not completely as off him as I am Hideki because a hand, especially a trail hand, not his lead hand, it's going to be less of a burden after some treatment over the week. But for me, that's who I pivot to. If I love Rickie but can't stomach the chalk, I'll be doing a lot of Hatton because I don't want to play Corey Connors. I really don't. I refused to play him earlier last year. So you can't trick me into playing Corey Connors no matter what you do, Connors.
No, and I'll be honest, we cannot waste a ton of time on this range because I will have
loading up on the lowers. Yes, we are.
I will have zero of anybody up here. I mean, I'm just not going to play them. Not at that ownership and not at this price. Like,
no, it's not worth it. It is not worth it.
Yeah, I'm not playing Hatton. I'm not playing Hideki. I'm certainly not playing Corey Connors. I probably
Thank you. I'm glad you're not with him this week. There's a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, oh, Corey Connors.
No, I'll tell you this. If I place more single entry this week, which I may, if I play more single entry, then I may actually play some Rickie Fowler, just because I
doesn't matter as much.
It really wouldn't in a single entry, just because let's just say 30-40% of people play him in a single entry. Okay, fine. I can be different somewhere else.
And still score a lot of points if Rickie wins.
Yeah. So in GPPs though, I'm not going to try and play 50-60% Rickie Fowler to get over on the tournament. Like that's insane.
That's bad money management.
Yeah, straight up.
You love Siwoo. That goes without saying.
30% owned as well.
Ooh. Yeah. God. That is horrendous. What about Taylor Montgomery? Because he can make birdies. His ball striking is ugly. His swing stinks. But the dude can make putts from all over the world.
I have less interest in Taylor Montgomery, not because of what you said is incorrect. Just watching him last week.
It's painful.
Yeah, he's not where he was 4 or 5 weeks ago. I have a lot more interest in starting my roster at Davis Riley at 9,500.
Yeah, my man. What's his chalk damage? About 18, 20?
Not quite there yet. 16.
Ooh, that is spicy. I like that. Give me all the Davis Riley at that.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, 16% Davis Riley is my first man in. I love that. And what's crazy
Lock of the week.
What's crazy is if you go down from him, if you keep going down the lower nines and the high eights, the low eights, everybody in there is the low double digits or single digits, which means that no one else is starting at Davis Riley. Like, Davis Riley is the second man in a bunch of these lineups, but no one is starting with Davis Riley and then building in the eights and the nines right now. So,
which is really nice leverage.
So that
you're a JJ Spawn guy.
Yep.
Matt Kuchar's done well here in the past, and he's playing well recently for some reason. I'm not sure why Kuchar's doing great right now, but he looked really good.
Love Ryan Fox this week at 11% rostership.
Oh, interesting.
Love Ryan Fox. Yeah, and as far as
Spawn's chalky as hell, I bet.
Yeah, Spawn's not. It's actually not horrible. Actually, it's 11%.
What?
Yeah, straight up 11%.
He's getting no respect on DraftKings either.
Dude, I'm telling you. So the 9K right now, the highest owned person in 9K is Chris Kirk at 25%. No, I'm sorry.
Easy fade.
C Woo at 30, Chris Kirk at 25, and then Matt Kuchar at 19.8. And then
okay. Kirk and Kuchar become immediate fades.
Yeah, Ryan Fox at 11, JJ Spawn at 11,
what?
Alexander Noren at 4.3.
Loading up on this range. Ben Griffin's a better play. That dude's completely on point every week.
Yeah, and Ben Griffin is actually getting some pull. He's at 14%, so he's right there. But 14's fine. I mean, I'd play a 14%.
Bez looked okay last week. He got pummeled by a better group, but Matt Wallace just won. 8,500 seems a little steep for him, but that's a guy who's hot.
He rates out 10th in my model.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I mean in that range as far as guys that rate out well for me, Siwoo rates out second for me. I'm not going to play him. I can't play him at that rostership level.
No.
Chris Kirk is 18th in my model, so he's getting into that realm where like there's other plays in the 9s that rate out better for me, like Matt Wallace, who rates out 10th. And excellent from that par 3 range. Number 8 in this field and approach. He's number 10 in the par 5 scoring range. And he's number 3 in scrambling and around the green. So if he does get in trouble, he's getting himself up and down. So Matt Wallace might be a good leverage play this week.
Hot golfers stay hot, guys. Cam Davis. I love Cam Davis. All the Cam Davis. Unless he's a chalk bomb, in which I would play less Cam Davis.
Just a smidge less. He's not. He's fine. It looks like it's going to land somewhere around 11 to 13.
I can deal with that. Give me all the Cam Davis at 8,300. Hogard, 8K. I'm a Hogard fan. Nikolai Hogard.
Brendan Todd, number 1 in my model.
Todd Father.
And I'll be honest, Brendan Todd, before I even look at his rostership percentage, I don't even necessarily care what it is.
He's a lock for you, huh?
Yeah, he just rates out that much better than anybody else for me. And at $7,900, I can literally do anything I want with my roster. I mean, that's just such an absurd value for a guy who I feel is a lock to be in the top 10. And right now, his rostership's only projected at 18, so not even bad. I just think that's such an extreme value based on the numbers I'm looking at. $7,900 Brendan Todd, lock that in.
I'm looking at fantasy points per game, and the guy who stands out in this group is Andrew Putnam at 7,800. He's averaging a clean 6 more fantasy points a game than everybody else in that high 7s range. That's something to pay attention to because hot golfers like Andrew Putnam, he got out of his group last week, which John Rahm didn't even do that. Putnam got out of his group. He won his group. He got shellacked by, shout out NorCal, Kurt Kitayama. And that's somebody I like to play in DFS. They're guys that are hot, and I guarantee he's not chalky. Putnam is not chalky.
No, he's not. He is sub 5%. Sub 5%.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm going to win this week.
He's another dude that I like.
End of your reign of terror in DFS. It's the end of that because this is my week. Yeah, and I know I know we're not going to agree on DFS guys because some of these guys you're putting up here, I'm just going, yeah.
Oh, you just wait, my friend. I'll be victory lapping you again next week.
Who you got in the 7s?
Oh, the sevens. Actually, the sevens are full for me. I think I've starred every single guy in the sevens.
So you're on Putnam and
Yep.
of course Todd.
Yep.
You're on Bo Hostler.
I'm not on Bo Hostler.
Nobody likes Bo Hostler.
No.
Hayden Buckley, however.
So I'm there's guys I like better. Like Brandon Wu rates out very, very well for me. 7,500.
We did have a wager on the Woos a couple weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah, and you definitely won that.
Yes, it feels so good because his odds were way worse, and everyone's like, which Woo would you pick? And a lot of people said neither. And I said Dylan Woo would do better than Brandon Woo. They're not even related, are they? and it's funny because I actually won one, and that was I'm gonna cherish that victory for the rest of my life.
Well, an interesting phenomenon. Speaking of whether or not they're brothers, which I don't know, they rate out within like 2 points of each other for me. So I may have both Woos in my lineup.
And Dylan's cheaper again.
Dylan's cheaper. The thing, if I had to pick one in the 7 to play, it's probably going to end up being Dylan. Just because he's more consistent in more categories. I just feel like you're going to get a more consistent result with that. Brandon Wu, on the other hand, though, rates higher in the categories he's good at significantly. I mean, his opportunities gained are kind of off the chart in comparison to these other guys in the 7s. And he's got a very well-rounded approach game.
Is it so round?
So see, you're throwing me off, Bo.
That's good. It's good for TV.
But no, he's exceedingly better at the par 3 ranges that we're looking at and the proximity range than Dylan is. So I would probably lean Brandon. My favorite play, honestly, in this range is Tyler Duncan, which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Get here. Come on. You're messing with me now.
I'm not.
Tyler Duncan, really?
Tyler Duncan rates out.
I smell a wager. I can't stand Tyler Duncan this week.
I like Tyler Duncan this week. Tyler Duncan is right now. He is.
What's his price? I need to find him so I can find a guy I can match him with, and we're betting again.
$7,200.
Oh man. I mean, Tyler Duncan's starting to look pretty good down here.
Yeah.
Sorry, never mind. I retract my statement. I don't hate him down that cheap. He's okay there.
No, and here's the thing, right? So for the way I'm building lineups, Tyler Duncan is probably my last man in, right? And so at $7,200 is your last man in with a well-rounded lineup. Tyler Duncan is very good off the tee, very good at that par 3 range, very good at par 5 scoring. So, Tyler Duncan actually is a pretty good value at $7,200. And being that there's not a whole lot else down here that's what I would deem reliable.
Akshay.
Yeah, I don't hate Akshay as we said, but there's just a little more pedigree on Tyler Duncan in this price range is all I'm saying. He's just got a little more experience, a little more consistency. So that's probably where I'm gonna go at 7,200.
Yeah, I'm ending at Akshay at 7K flat. We can talk about some guys down in the 6s briefly because there's a couple guys who are going to take some long shot dart throws on, I'm sure. But yeah, if you're going in the 6s consistently in a big tournament, it's going to be, or in a medium sized tournament, it's going to be tough to win because I don't see any of these guys competing for a lot of DK points.
No, I would agree. It's tough. It's tough. Like I said, if you start at Davis Riley, you don't have to get down here and mess around too badly. Mm-hmm. Like you can kind of live right in that upper 7, lower 8 range and build really well-rounded lineups. So that would be my suggestion. But if you do find yourself down here in the lower 7s, those are a couple guys to take a look at. Getting into the 6s, and then we can get on up out of here.
Lauer,
of course, not necessarily because statistically he's always the best, but He does have a tendency to rise to the top in these lesser field tournaments. So I do like Lauer. Russell Knox at 6,500. Rates out 15 in my model. Excellent from that key approach range, 125, 150. Excellent.
What's his problem lately, though? I don't know what's going on with him.
His problem looks like, I mean, nothing in particular jumps off the page as being a problem. He's just not scoring that often. Like he's
consistently mediocre, and that just doesn't do anything.
It does. Russell Knox is also good in the wind if the wind kicks up at all. And he's an accurate player. So Russell Knox, I mean, I don't think Russell Knox is winning this tournament, but I mean,
no.
It's $6,500. I think he's probably a guy I can feel pretty confident in this field makes the cut.
I'll throw Tano Goya out there again at 65. I just pray that he doesn't shoot a 79 on Friday. It's just weird. That's a weird stat. But Tano Goya, that's what I'm gonna end with, I guess. Viva Argentina.
I'm gonna end with and I've got other guys down here, but in interest of not rambling on too much longer, this is our longest show ever, I think.
Yeah.
Until next week when we do our Masters.
And best. Every show is our best show.
Every show is the best show. Wait till the Masters.
I can't wait.
6,100 Satoshi Kodaira.
That's a good one.
He got me earlier this year, but I'm gonna go back one more time.
He helped me early because I played him the week after you played him, and he did great.
Well, check this out.
Thank you. Thanks for the recommendation, Connor.
Check this out, though. In the last 24 rounds, number 1 in this field for fairways gained and driving accuracy. Number 2 in this field, shots gained approach. Number 14 in this field from 125 to 150 as a key approach distance.
Excellent.
And number 11 and sticking the ball close and giving himself an opportunity at birdie or better. So, yeah, I'm going to play some Satoshi at 6,100 for sure.
Why is he so cheap?
Late ad, maybe? I don't know.
Either way, that's an edge.
He's a class above, though, for sure, down there at that price.
Yeah, I would say so. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us on the 19th hole live. We are part of the In Between Media Group YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the entire channel, set the alerts so you can be reminded when we're going live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we're going to join you with green on. We're going to be sipping azaleas, just picturing walking down Magnolia Lane or sniffing the actual azaleas in person. Wouldn't that be nice, Connor? We'll be doing that next week. We'll be pretending we're at Augusta.
A boy can dream, can't he?
Yep. Anyway, this is Connor. I'm Bo. Thank you again. I got to hit this. Oh, my goodness. I thought I had it. See? That's what happens.
Almost, Bo.
Oh, my God. Where did it go? Yeah,